Sydney Sweeney is selling her bathwater. Yes, that Sydney Sweeney, the blue-eyed actress who Hollywood has spent the last 5 years grooming into the next Great American Starlet. Known for her roles in Euphoria, White Lotus, and a string of rom-coms designed to weaponize her girl-next-door sex appeal, Sydney has always sat at a strange intersection between innocence and provocation. But recently, she's crossed a new threshold entirely. In partnership with Dr. Squatch, a brand best known for its rugged, soap-for-men aesthetic, Sydney dropped a limited edition product. Her bathwater infused in a bar of soap and sold online. The product itself was marketed not as a gag, but as a dead serious piece of celebrity merchandise, and the internet just about lost its mind. The responses ranged from awe to disgust to iconic thirst. And yet, what was framed as funny or edgy or even brilliant marketing is actually something much more telling. Beneath the foam and the filters lies something ugly, the exploitation of female bodies for male pleasure dressed up as empowerment. Keep in mind, however, that this isn't the first time celebrity bathwater has gone viral. Back in 2019, Belle Delphine sold her gamer girl bathwater as a parody of the creepy, obsessive fan culture that followed her. So, while it might be easy to compare both Sydney and Belle and say they are the same, their careers looked entirely different. Belle is a streamer online, a gaming streamer at that, and Sydney is a very talented and esteemed Hollywood actress who is getting major movie deals. Their audiences are different from each other, so to say they are the same would negate their careers entirely. But I still have to ask, why bathwater in the first place? Why this and why now? Well, because it sells. It shocks. Because Sydney's entire brand is built on contradiction. Sexy but sweet. Womanly but innocent. Desirable but untouched. The bathwater exists precisely because of this tension. It's a way to say, I'm not naked, but you can still consume me, and then are consuming it, visually, symbolically, and economically. This entire stunt works in the first place because it feeds into the age-old concept of the male gaze, but dressed in a 2025 aesthetic. We like to pretend we've moved past the era where women existed solely as objects of male desire, but the truth of the matter is, the male gaze didn't and never has died. It just evolved. It got a ring light. It got an Instagram filter. It learned how to speak the language of empowerment while still demanding access to women's bodies. Sydney here is a case study in how the modern male gaze disguises itself as branding. I mean, just look at her career. From Euphoria's voyeuristic nude scenes to magazine covers where she's draped in lace, lips parted and eyes wide, she's been sold to us as the perfect balance of purity and porn. She is the soft girl who's also the sex symbol, the high fashion model with a body built for men's magazines. She herself is both, and that contradiction is the product. The bathwater stunt here is just the most literal expression of that duality. It's a physical object that lets men own her without touching her. It's the fantasy of intimacy without responsibility, a parasocial performance of possession. And she's not even the only one playing this game. The internet is filled with female celebrities towing the same line, selling sex but calling it self-love, performing desire but marketing it as aesthetic. And in doing so, she exposed just how desperate this system really is. In 2025, sex appeal isn't just a side effect of fame, it's the entire currency. The digital economy runs on attention, and nothing grabs attention faster than a beautiful woman doing something shocking. Sydney Sweeney's bathwater stunt was a business move entirely, a calculated, data-driven, SEO-optimized moment of virality. But let's be clear here. Sydney did this entirely for relevance, and relevance in 2025 is a brutal game. You're only as valuable as your last viral moment. You're only as powerful as the clicks you generate. If you're a woman in Hollywood, especially one who became famous for playing the hot girl, the pressure is relentless. You have to keep people looking, keep them talking, keep them wanting. So what do you do when your beauty becomes boring? You escalate. You sell your bathwater. It's a desperate attempt to control the narrative, but ironically, it just confirms how little control women in Sydney's position actually have. Because once your image becomes your product, there's no turning back. The audience doesn't want your talent anymore. They just want access, and they'll pay for it, whether it's with money, comments, likes, or fantasies. One of the most common defenses of Sydney's bathwater move is that it's empowering, that it's funny, bold, and sex positive, that it's her choice, her body, her bag. And sure, on paper, that's true. I can't deny that. No one forced her to do this. But that argument ignores the deeper context, the why behind the choice. Is it really empowerment if your only route to cultural relevance is through eroticized self-exposure? Is it still empowerment if the system you're winning at was built by the same gays you claim to be subverting? Empowerment has become a marketing tactic, a way to sanitize exploitation. If you're smiling while you're objectified, suddenly it's feminist. If you're rich while you do it, suddenly it's a victory. But what we're seeing with Sydney isn't liberation, it's just her adapting. She's adapting to a media machine that rewards women not for their minds or crafts, but for their willingness to perform desire on command. And that's not empowerment, that's just survival. But let's pause for a second to make something clear. This critique is not about shaming Sydney. This is not a purity test. She's not stupid, she's not talentless, and she's definitely not the villain. But she is an active participant, a willing participant at that, in a system that turns women into spectacle. A celebrity who has repeatedly chosen to lean into a brand of femininity built on curated fragility and male validation. And in doing so, she's influencing the next generation of girls, many of whom are watching this unfold and learning a dangerous lesson, that desirability is your power, that being wanted is the goal, that sex appeal is not just a byproduct of fame, it's the entire price of entry. Sydney's bathwater stunt is not just about one woman making a bold move, it's about an entire culture that makes women believe this is the smart move, the strategic move, and the only move. She's not the cause, no, but that doesn't mean she's off the hook. To understand why Sydney's actions hit such a nerve, we need to zoom out. This kind of commodified femininity didn't start with TikTok, it didn't start with Instagram, it didn't even start with Marilyn Monroe. The sexualization of famous women has always been a spectacle. From ancient Greek courtesans to Elizabethan mistresses to Hollywood bombshells, femininity has long been defied by its performances. How well a woman could balance allure with obedience. Sydney is just a 2025 remix. Her brand is vintage, not in aesthetic, but in ideology. The same ideas that made Marilyn Monroe a star, softness, sex appeal, and emotional vulnerability, are what fuel Sydney's fandom today. But instead of being managed by a studio, she's managed by algorithms. Instead of posing for posters, she's posing for TikToks, for Instagram. The packaging has changed, but the gaze has not. And what about us? The viewers, the fans, the ones making memes, retweeting thirst traps, debating whether it's iconic or embarrassing to sell your bathwater. Well, we're complicit. And when I say we, I don't mean every single human on the earth. Of course, we're all different. We all have different point of views and opinions. I'm just making a generalization. We don't just watch women like Sydney get objectified. We expect it. We reward it. We reinforce it every time we click, comment, or obsess. And then we turn around and call it empowerment. But we have to be honest with ourselves. We like watching beautiful women toe the line of scandal. We like it when they go just a little bit too far. We like it because it gives us permission, whether that be to judge, to desire, to shame, to praise. all while pretending we're just spectators. But we are not just watchers, we are also participating ourselves. We are the market. But what does that all mean? Well, Sydney Sweeney's bathwater is not revolutionary. It's not anything new. It's not empowering. It's not even particularly surprising. It's just the latest chapter in a long, exhausting story about how women are told to sell themselves piece by piece for a seat at the table. She put herself in a bar of soap, and we bought it, not because we needed soap, but because we wanted proximity. We wanted the illusion of touch, the fantasy of access. And maybe that's the saddest part, that we've been sold a dream for so long, we don't even question it anymore. A dream where being desired is more important than being known, where the body is the brand, and where the only thing more valuable than your image is the idea that someone somewhere can own it.